Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, July 10th. Big day in the sporting world. Yesterday, some contradicting rules came out from the NFL on how everything will be, regulated with the COVID-19 rollout. Guys are allowed to hit the hell out of each other for 60 minutes. Go ahead and beat the living hell out of each other. You need a spear guy? Spear a guy. If you're going to get a stiff arm and then you drag them down, you're laying on top of each other, you do a couple barrel rolls on the sideline, you do whatever you got to do. But as soon as that game is over, okay, as soon as that 60 minutes, or if it goes to overtime, okay, as soon as that game is over, don't even look at each other. You hear me? You have to be at least 6 feet apart. Let's not do the jersey exchanges. Let's put the mask back on. Let's do all that. And by the way, I like the fact that, social distancing off of immediately after potentially killing each other because tensions could be high and stuff like that. But here we go yet again with some more contradicting rules that just don't make any sense. But I appreciate the fact that people are trying to figure out how they get through the guidelines to make the rules and make the league come back. A lot of people were up in arms yesterday about the NFL's rules. This is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way, this entire thing. The NFLPA, I guess they okayed these things, which is interesting because I'm sure a lot of the players did not know that these things were getting okayed. And players were making, I think a bigger deal out of this than they actually feel because jersey exchanges, although they have become very, 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 very common within the last couple of years, just a few years back, like maybe 3-4 years, jersey exchanges were not happening at the rate that they currently happen. Okay, it's just like the big dogs, I guess, would go do it every once in a while. Me and Shane Leckler potentially exchanged jerseys, but that was just a conversation we had, and he said, "I'll mail one to you." I was like, "Yeah, I'll mail one to you too, man. Sounds good. Let's have a good one." But other than that, it hasn't become until very recent that the jersey exchange started happening after every game with every player who maybe didn't even play in the game. But hey, let's go ahead and do this. Which, by the way, I'm cool with. Like, hey, they have to pay for the jerseys. Okay, there's something that doesn't. You have to pay for those jerseys that you're exchanging. But hey, you're having a moment with a friend. You're remembering a day. Not that big of a deal. And I think whenever the players start, questioning these types of things, they're like, well, how does that make any sense? And it doesn't. It just doesn't. And that's for the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of things that make no sense when it comes to the NFL and the NFLPA's discussions. There's going to be business conversations and things that are thrown out there that make no sense. The 35% escrow that the NFL is trying to throw out already to hold the players or the money back. So if they lose any revenue, they don't have to pay them. I mean, it is going to get ugly. And sports are going to continue to have these contradicting rules. But it feels as if sports are on the way back. NHL training camp starts on Monday. We talked to Pierre Maguire in 28 minutes about what the NHL is going to do. What are their rules going to be? Are they going to be allowed? Are they going to be allowed to bump gloves after they score? Are you going to be allowed to go down to bench? Listen, you can score, you can check, you can spray water, but you can't go down the bench and do the fit. You can't do it. Like, what are the rules going to be? Like, how are they trying to implement these different things? Pierre Maguire will talk to us about not only the rollout plan, but why 2 Canadian cities got to happen, and also the CBA extension that got done a year early, which has never, ever, ever happened in the history of any professional sport, I don't think, let alone the NHL, which has had work stoppages throughout its entire history. It feels like the NHL owners are doing a lot for the players, and I think that is probably expediting the entire process for them to get back. August 1st, they'll kick off. The NBA has fully moved into Orlando down there. You saw Joel Embiid looking like a Breaking Bad character going down there with an entire body suit on with the mask. J.R. Smith got in some trouble for an Instagram Live last night talking about his hotel room is filled with candy and things like that. And he's like, hey, listen, man, you're paying people $50 million. You want them to be Ferraris, and then you're putting in this Chrysler BS is what he said in the and I can understand where he's coming from, because if you learn anything about these guys who are super meticulous about their diets, they're not saying like, hey, we have better discipline than you do whenever it comes to great food being around. Now, granted, they can walk past a pizza place and not eat it, which I don't. Makes no sense to me. That is going to be a struggle for me, I think, for the long haul. And I do blame all my Paisan friends that I grew up with just force feeding me that my entire life. So then now it's almost like an addiction that I have. But when I have to push it away a little bit and walk by that, it's very hard for me. I assume that those types of guys who are very fit, you see them on Instagram with like the 45 pack. I assume that my taste buds are infinitely happier than theirs are, but they look incredible. And these high profile athletes, like what Dwight Freeney would put in his body and drink and everything like that, it's not that they have a better discipline, which they do, obviously, but they keep anything out of their lives, right? So like Conor McGregor, he did an entire tour with the UFC of the house he was staying in Las Vegas, and there's like a rule sheet on the refrigerator that's like, hey, there's no sugars in here, there's no this, there's none this, and then in the pantry it's like, hey, there's no candy allowed in here, there's none, because you're saving yourself from yourself. And J.R. Smith's like, is this not something we could have thought of? Now, granted, I bet you there's a lot of younger players who aren't J.R. Smith's age who probably just came in the league. They're like, hey, J.R., that's on you, man. Okay, I'm going to eat the hell. You don't want them? Go ahead and just slide them under the door. Go ahead and slide them down, throw them down the hallway because we're not allowed to be in each other, and we'll take them. But that is an interesting thing because I think the narrative going into that biodome in Orlando for the NBA was that it was going to be terrible. So whenever you see JR like talk about this, that kind of piles onto that aspect. I don't think this particular one is that big of a deal, but that players lounge is very small. That players lounge is not as large as I thought it was going to be. The food, some players love it, some players hate it. To be honest, it doesn't look that terrible, but could you imagine eating hotel food for 35, 40 days at the minimum? And I think we are just I think that's what a lot of the players are talking about whenever they're posting things. They're like, you see this? This is going to be for the next at least 40 days of my life, which, by the way, getting paid a lot of money to play. You live a dream life, which is we all agree on, but they're also humans at the end of the day, and that is something to think about. I got a chance to play at the Olympic Training Center out in Chula Vista whenever I was playing soccer, California. And when we're in the Olympic village over there, it was very similar to that. Kind of a biodome. You have a players' lounge here. You have a cafeteria here. You do this whole thing. That players' lounge seemed a bit small. What happened? Do they all get along, I guess? I guess everybody gets along. So you have one big open lobby. Mm-hmm. Hey, who's going to be the thing I want to who's going to be the ping pong champion of this whole thing? Ooh. I mean, they're probably going to have like a 40-day tournament, and they're going to figure out who's the number one guy at ping pong. Yeah. I would like to know who's the number one guy at ping pong in the NBA. We'll find that out. I feel like the NBA players. Now, J.R. Smith got yelled at and told to go off of Instagram Live while he was talking about the candy and everything. I feel like we are going to get really good access into the lives of these NBA players in this biodome, and I'm pumped to see how it plays out. I wonder if the MLS has the same setup as they do. I'm not exactly sure. They're back. The NBA's coming back. The NHL's coming back. NFL is going to figure out how to come back. Even if you can spear people and not even look at each other after games, they're probably going to come back. It's going to get ugly business-wise in the next couple weeks, but they're going to come back. You know what's not going to come back? Hey.
Say it.
I don't want to at Boston Connor.
At
Boston Connor, I don't want to. I see you're wearing a college hoops jersey on you right there.
Look, I don't want to say it either, but I'm just telling you.
You want me to say it?
Say it.
Yesterday, college football took a couple large steps into at least you have to consider canceling the season. Ivy League. I don't want it. I just became a college football analyst, last year? Yeah. I just started watching college football for the first time in 15 years. Last year, I just started getting into the traditions. I just started getting into the passion. I just started getting into the incredibly talented young men who are trying to make their dreams and aspirations come true and win a natty. I just started getting back into it. I don't want to see it happen, but once you see the Ivy League cancel, and they're on that commissioner's call every single day that they're having, or every week, whatever Robin Harris said it was, and then you see, okay, the Big Ten comes out and says, listen, we're only going to do interconference games, okay? And then you have the Pac-12 and the ACC reported thinking the same thing, because they're all on the same Zoom calls with each other, by the way, so they're all kind of trying to make this decision together, and the Big 12 has not come out, and the SEC has not come out of the other two Power 5 schools and said they're thinking about this, but we can assume that they're thinking about this. In this decision, I think, and I could be wrong here, I think a lot of people in this room think the same thing. This is a strictly business decision by the Big 10, Pac-12, and ACC, and let's assume that the Big 12 and SEC are also going to jump in on this. This is a business decision because whenever these schools that are massive in these Power 5 schools and they play out of their conference and they play whoever, they normally have to pay those schools to play them, and if it's at their stadium, there's a whole nother payday there. So I think these decisions were made strictly so they don't have to pay anybody. You saw Bowling Green's athletic director came out and he talked about the potential loss of payday. Ball State has two Big Ten schools here in Indiana that they play against that they're probably going to lose out on a payday for. But this is a business decision that's being made here to say this, and it's awesome. You know, you got 9 games, I guess, in most conferences, 8 in the other ones. Notre Dame will be playing in the ACC because they have somehow managed to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge their way through conference contracts and remain independent, setting themselves up for the most amount of success every single year and national television every single week. It's brilliant business decision. They'll play in the ACC, allegedly, so they're going to have to run into the buzzsaw that is Clemson at some point. But I fear that this is a business decision. This is not the health and safety decision that is going to get made ultimately. And there's a lot of people that don't think about business or the business of football in those universities and colleges that have, law degrees and people that have to worry about the campus rules. Robin Harris, the Ivy League executive director, yesterday on Golick and Wingo with Mike Golick Jr. and Jason Fitzmagic, former fiddler player for
the band Perry.
The band Perry. Good conversation they had with Robin Harris, the executive director, and she basically said, we are just listening to the campus rules that are being made from the schools in the Ivy League. Now, the Ivy League's much different because sports fall, probably like 75th in line at Ivy League schools. There's a lot of other things to go into. You know, there's like tech, business, labs that happen. There's a lot going on in those Ivy League schools where sports don't matter. And you would think in a lot of these other Power 5 conferences, sports are a much bigger deal. So who knows if they'll go that way. But her big thing was we have to abide by the campus rules. So now each individual campus in the overall assumption is going to be whatever they decide is what the conference decides, whatever the majority of the campus decides. And now who's making those decisions on those campuses? Okay, you got presidents, not athletic director. You got presidents of schools, admissions directors, I assume directors of medicine and health and everything like that. Those people, let's assume, do not give a damn about if sports come back or not. And by the way, some of those people have probably hated sports for a long time. I mean, there was a couple doctors that came out against football very heavily a couple years ago, if you do recall. So they don't even give a damn about the sports aspect of this thing. It's all going to revolve around whatever happens on the campuses. And it feels like this college football season is just kind of, we like things that yield only, not obviously COVID-19 deaths, right, or numbers. We like things that normally go like this. It feels like this entire situation is just going like this down into a potential pit of doom, which is no season coming up this year.
How long until we kind of just did it right there, but how long until they really start like poking holes in this and kind of move to the next step? Because don't you think once they decide not to have a full season, they're basically saying like, okay, well, it's like...
At Ty Schmidt with a great mention. Them making this decision is them trying to, I think, trying to be as smart and bottom line and appear as if they're trying to adapt to the modern situation that's happening. So I think you're right there in saying that it's going to, but what... You think about the presidents or whoever's going to be making these decisions on the campuses, they're going to go, so you think moving, because I would assume this is potential move to say that they're being safer and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But if you're West Virginia, who's in the Big 12, and Big 12 has not come out and it has not been reported that they said this, but let's assume they're on the same page as the other 3 in the Big 5 that are being reported doing this. West Virginia has to fly to like Texas. West Virginia has to fly to Oklahoma. West Virginia has to fly to Kansas. I mean, those are what? 4-hour flights, 5-hour flights.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea how long those flights are. So it's not about the distance traveled or moving or anything like that, which is what a lot of people were thinking, like, oh, that's why they go into the conference. They'll go into the conferences. It'll be closer games. It's like, well, some conferences are not set up that way. My school was not set up that way. So this has nothing to do with health and safety concerns at all. This is 100% a business decision. And then when the health and safety gets involved, it's going to involve a lot of people that aren't in the football world. And then bingo, bango, it feels like that could be bad news bears for everybody. At Tone takes what he got.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's a business decision, so they don't have to pay the smaller conferences. But it also it gives them, like I was just looking at Ohio State's schedule. Their first conference game is until the end of September. It's on September 26th. So it does give them like 3 or 4 more weeks because those non-conference games were at the beginning of the year to maybe figure some more stuff out.
Is that for Ohio State or is that for everybody?
That's Ohio State's. I assume it's different for a lot, but normally.
Yeah. I do think early because you never want to schedule it tough. When we were obviously doing our run at West Virginia, we were trying to find schools that would play us. Like that was they were trying to fill the schedule there for a little bit, and we had to play Eastern Washington one year, and I think it was one of our first games. I don't even know if they don't even have a football team anymore.
1AA.
Yeah, like are they still a football team though?
Yeah, very good now.
Really?
They have the red turf.
Yeah, red. They were a
they
red
air it
school.
out. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I had a tackle on a returner there. He was like, Ty, probably your size. He did hit a little hole, but it was fourth quarter. We had like our fifth strings in at that point because we did pretty well. And I think he had a big return. I think he jumped at the wrong time, and it was just like, you're smaller than me, and you're in the air right now. This is awesome. And then all my, obviously, friends were on the sideline because they hadn't played since probably halftime or something like that. So there was a big hype-up session and everything like that. And then I stood up just like the Trinity Holiday thing, and it's like, yeah, I literally weigh like 75 pounds more than that guy, though. This is what should happen here. But those games are not easy to book for some of these really good teams, right? Because some of those smaller schools that are like pretty good, because you never want to get upset if you're a big school and you're also paying them. So it's like a double-edged sword there. That Appalachian State Michigan game, you think back to that whenever Corey, he was a teammate of mine and a friend of mine. He is not Lynch. Blocked the kick, obviously. So Michigan had to pay them, I think, a couple $1 million, and they lost out on any chance for anything because of block kicked upset. So those games are always a roll of the dice. So these conferences saying, well, we just won't do any of those games, so we don't have to pay them, we don't have to do anything. It's like, well, we see why you're doing that, but you haven't even yet tried to hurdle the COVID-19 bitch that's going to get involved here in just a few minutes as well, college football. And this is not good. We're not happy about this. We like college football. I like gambling on college football. I like talking about college football. But boy, oh boy, if you listen to anybody who seems to have a clue about the situation, it feels like we are in trouble there, bud.
Will not be happy.
Me neither.
Not be happy.
I just became a college football fan last year?
It's so nice because like you and I and people who didn't grow up in college towns, like we could just watch football on Saturday and just worry about our bets and not have to worry about fandom and being stressed out like when we get to Sunday. It's just a nice day to enjoy some football.
Just casual football. Look at these kids. Look at these kids. Should they be getting paid? Absolutely. Look at these kids. Oh, look at what's that, 110,000 tickets? That's probably that's probably at least a $10 million payday in ticket. Look at this passion. Look at this loyalty. That's a lot of money too, though. And that is what this decision that is being announced yesterday is all about. Yeah. That's all it is.
Well, and like you said, from the health and safety side too, once you realize that like all these state schools that usually play each other every year that are in the same conference, and they're saying that it's more dangerous to travel like an hour away to play like a state rival than it is to travel halfway across the country to play someone in your conference, like that makes absolutely no sense.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
How about the MLS? And I said this the other day, and there was we posted a video about it. Billy Tubes, shout out Billy Tubes, posted a video on YouTube. And in the comment section, there was a bunch of people coming after me for being a dumb American, is what I was called. A dumb American.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were some people that were like, well, this is America's problem. This is dumb American mindset. You don't understand why the mass happened, or you don't understand why a dome is good. I'm like, no, I understand why the dome is good, but the dome is good because you're testing everybody that's going in there, so it's not in the dome, right? Is that not what it's about? Is that not why you have the dome? Is so that nobody can breach the dome? COVID-19 can't breach the dome. So then whenever you have people wear masks onto the field and then they take it off, play, breathe on each other, sweat on each other, slide tackle each other, bump each other, sweat on each other, because it's Orlando in July, it's 700 degrees down there. So then you do that. And then immediately after the game is played, the masks have to go on, can't high five each other, don't do anything like that. Like that just in itself makes zero sense. Just like the NFL thing makes zero sense. But if it makes people go, oh, it'll be safer that way, I guess let's do it. But I just don't know how that is an accurate statement.
Hey, you talked about things that might potentially go away because of like the jersey swap. Are we going to lose the NHL handshake line after a series?
Well, the playoff. Listen, we got to get to a break. 18 minutes after the hour, the playoff bonus is doubled for the players.
Wow.
Okay.
Screw the line.
Yeah. So I don't know if the high fives or low fives are going to happen afterwards, because the boys are going to know that they're losing out on double the money they could have had if they would have won. So maybe they'll be a bit upset about that. But we'll talk to Pierre Maguire here in about 12 minutes about all of that. A lot of NHL news. Are they going to make them wear full
cage?
Coaches don't have to wear a mask on the bench either.
That makes sense because they were tested on the way in. I just.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Somehow the NHL became the best league in the world. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey,
Hey,
Legit,
seriously.
by the
Yeah.
way. They're having training camps in their own city starting on Monday. I assume players are all going into isolation for this. It's like, hey, boys, we're going on a little bit of a field trip here, okay? We're all in this together. Let's lock it down. Then they travel up to Canada, Eastern Western Conference, have their 24-team tournament or whatever, and then bang, they're off and running. Double the playoff pool money. Got a new CBA done, new rules done. The NHL is trying to take care of its players, it seems like, in the most that any other league has ever tried to. And the NHL is not known for this. 2020 is a dumb year. The NHL is leading the way on how to operate. Nobody would have thought that.
No.
But congrats to
congrats
the NHL and Gary Bettman.
Come on, Gary.
Talk to Pierre McGuire about that in 11 minutes. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, July 10th.
His top target, the burner on play one, puts the Cougs on top.
What a start here in New Orleans, Adam. Everybody talked about De'Aaron King being a runner. The Tulane defense knew that. It almost felt like he was going to do it. Then he pulls up and drops a dime to Marquez Stevenson to start in an electrifying fashion, Matt.
The fridge, Pat, is back to punt. Ryan Wright.
I love this man. 6'3", 255. And he hits a
Wow.
bomb for the brand. The fridge saw his team was in trouble, trotted out on the field, and hit a bomb.
Yeah, and I walked all the way through here, down here, sweating profusely, I'd assume. Up an elevator back here that will be loaded with humans. Up, all the way down here, into here, kickoff. Let's call it football. Yeah.
That is absolutely magical for the brand and for Dane Roy. They had two returners the entire first half. They put one back there. The ball goes over his head. Perfect bounce, perfect coverage. Good for the University of Houston.
Sound didn't work. Back to the booth. If I'm in a student section or in a weird place, maybe a remote area, and you have my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on. So the sound didn't work on the field. So now we're sprinting up to the booth to get the wheel open. We don't have the sound works up there either. My makeup's all off. I thought I looked good. It's been melted off my face. Off to a hot start in humid New Orleans. Hey, you're gonna go. I'm gonna be so winded on there. How's it going, boys? Put a break! Oh yeah, man.
McMillan.
What a tunnel for McCluskey making a big play.
Hey, Twine, you a fool for this one. Yeah. And this your man, Uncle Sam. I'm in my zone every day, every night. Another couple shots about to get me right. You know it. Surrounded by the ones that get me through it all. Only thing we need more of is alcohol. Hey, I'm getting lit. Hey, you getting lit. Hey, who's getting lit? Hey, we getting lit. Hey, I'm getting lit. Hey, you getting lit. Hey, who's getting lit? Hey, we getting lit. Now you can find me posted up, drinking out the bottle. It ain't even sexual when I tell your girl to swallow. Push your hate aside.
Fellas, are you prepared to? It's pre-recorded. Don't need to do it. Don't need to do it.
Jeez. Manscaped, though. Shout out. Honestly.
Shout out Manscaped.
Yeah, shout out Manscaped. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Friday, July 10th, 2020, years after zero. So, don't know what zero was?
Wild.
I mean, there's a lot of conversation about that.
It
Today is
was.
not the day to have that particular conversation. Updated news from the UFC. Jorge Masvidal on 6 days' notice makes weight. He had to drop 20 pounds. He said that's no problem. He had to fly from Miami to Las Vegas last week to get 7 days ago or 6 days ago. He had to fly from Miami to Las Vegas to get a coronavirus test. If he passed that and renegotiated a deal with Dana White for this fight, it would have been all systems go. He passes the coronavirus test. He and Dana White, Ariel Helwani said did not make a extension on his contract for more fights, but this fight he is getting broken off for. He then hopped on a private plane from Las Vegas to Rome because he had to get a pizza because when in Rome, he said. And then from Rome to Abu Dhabi to Fight Island, loses 20 pounds. Now he and Usman, the welterweight champ, will battle on Fight Island in an arena that is not near the beach, as Ariel Helwani did report. And everybody who knows the game of fighting, sport of fighting, it's not a game. Sorry, disrespect.
Yeah, but they call it the fight game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Game
meant.
bred.
Yeah.
That is what I meant. And he's game bred. Yeah, so what I said, the game of fighting, exactly what I thought. The sport of fighting has said that Usman's probably going to win this one because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, I believe, and ground and pound potential talented wrestler. So maybe he takes Jorge Masvidal down. But me, being a guy who just loves electricity and loves Jorge Masvidal, he did an interview where he said it's going to start violent and it's going to end violent. That's just what it's going to be. We got a guy in our office named Mike. He said that, hey, Jorge Masvidal is going to die on his shield tomorrow night. It's like he is going for kill. He is going for knockout, and that means it's going to be an awesome fight. And because Jorge is this explosive fighter now in his career. Now, granted, we all know how he started, the videos of him fighting in backyards, especially against that one massive dude who actually knocked him down early. Then he comes back and does, as you see, the resiliency, Kimbo Slice's fighting league that was happening down there. Starts there, gets into the professional fighting leagues there. He loses a little bit. Then he grows his hair back, has a resurrection, he says. Now he's the street Jesus, and he is just on a war path, a terror. In 17 years into this thing, he gets his first welterweight championship shot here at the UFC. He's already the BMF title holder. I mean, this is going to be an awesome night tomorrow night. They're fighting at 6 a.m. local time at Yas Island, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That thing will pop off. I can't wait for it. Congrats to him on making a few $1 million, I'd assume, because he lost 20 pounds in 6 days. Jorge Masvidal is living his best life right now.
So 87% of the money is on Masvidal. He is down to plus 200, and Usman's minus 245. I believe Usman was like minus 300 to start, and Masvidal was plus 230.
Yep.
What are the odds again? I'm sorry. I was literally
Currently, they're
trying to calculate how much of that 87% was me.
Currently, Masvidal's plus 200 and Usman's minus 245. And I believe it started, Usman was like minus 290, 300, and Masvidal was plus 230 or something like that.
Oh, my God. At Viva Lazito, who looks more amazing today than I've ever seen. Zito, what's going on here?
So I gained 5 pounds yesterday, so this is the Diet Mask 2.0.
Okay, so you have to have a helmet and a face mask in front of your diet mask. That is not a COVID-19 mask because you have to socially distance. You're the only one in our offense that can't socially distance.
Yes.
But you said, no, this isn't a COVID-19 mask. This is a diet mask.
Yep.
Didn't work because you just lifted that thing right up and started housing food.
Yes, I was just basically lifting the mask up and putting hot dogs in.
So now you won't be able to lift up that helmet at all, I don't think.
Yeah, it has a strap. I have
It's
actually
unstrapped,
a
though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Strap up.
And how easy is that to unstrap? Very difficult, huh?
Oh, yeah, very, very difficult.
So when you're staring down those hot dogs today at that golf outing, it's not just going to be like a quick. You're probably going to do that thing quicker than Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. That thing's going to go up.
I was about to turn the straps off, actually.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Whatever you got to do, man. You'll get there.
Thank you.
You like beer?
I still like beer. Try it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now for a very different conversation than the one that was just had with Viva Lazito, NHL, NBC insider. Ladies and gentlemen, our guy, friend of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Friend of the show at this point. Is this his third time on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oui, Pierre Maguire.
Patrick, how are you?
Pierre, you have to be feeling fantastic. The NHL is setting the tone on how this whole thing's going to go. They sign an extension on a CBA. They get a lot of more things for the players. They double the playoff roster or the playoff bonus. They're starting training camp on Monday. It's like, what the hell happened to the NHL? This is not how the NHL normally operates, Pierre.
If you go back to the first visit I had with you, Patrick, one of the things we talked about was the problem-solving ability of Gary Bettman and Bill Daly. And they've done a fantastic job in terms of getting the Players Association online, in terms of getting the coaches and the general managers and the owners online. And everybody's worked together, Pat. They really have. It's been a phenomenal process. And I've been in the league 32 years. I'm so proud of the players we have. I'm so proud of the coaches we have, but I'm really proud of the way our league office and the NHLPA have handled this. They've handled it fantastically well.
No offense. You did say that, which was eye-opening, I think, to a lot of us that are just not diehard everyday hockey fans, but we watch and we kind of look from the outside, because the NHL has had work stoppages before. I mean, there has been bargaining, negotiation issues. The fact now, I think because some of the season was played before the quarantine and business was kind of handled, maybe they were set up a little bit better than possibly the MLB. But the way this has all gone down behind closed doors, 2 hub cities, everybody thought it was going to be Vegas. No, we're going up to Edmonton and Toronto. We're going to Canada. Like, the way it's all been handled and laid out is next level. What did the owners, because it feels like the players won in this entire thing. The 35-year-old, you have to keep them on the salary cap if they get cut or retire after they're 35 years of age. That's gone. The no trade clause, if they agree to get traded, they can get back onto the no trade clause when they go to that is in play. It feels like everything that's happening has been very pro players, doubling this playoff bonus. Did the NHL owners in this CBA negotiation, did they go in there and like, this is what we need to get all this done? Or did this feel like this was a league really looking out for the players for the long haul here?
I think it's a combination of both, and that's why I use the term spirit of cooperation. I think the players understand that things have worked out really well. When Commissioner Bettman took over the league, Pat, back in 1993-94, the league revenues were about $500 million. Ever since then, the league revenues are now almost $5 billion.
Oh, so he's good. He's good.
The business has grown exponentially, and that's really helped the players. And if you go back to the one lockout you were alluding to in 2004 and 2005, we had the nuclear winter. We didn't have hockey for an entire calendar year. But what it did was it created the salary cap, and I know a lot of people are pro or con depending on where you stand on the cap. But what the cap didn't do is it didn't bring back salaries. It actually enhanced salaries, because there was a trigger mechanism in the collective bargaining agreement that if revenues went up, the salary cap went up. If the salary cap went up, salaries were going to go up. And so it really hasn't drawn back the salaries. It's actually helped enhance the salaries.
I can't believe that, by the way, that's an astounding stat. He should be on Shark Tank for sure at some point to be able to do that. The thought of the NHL having home training camp starting on Monday and then traveling to Canada, are the players just, because of the way this deal has been negotiated and because the NHL has done what it's done to the players, and by the way, being an athlete that sat through a lockout and knows like the behind the scenes of this, what the NHL is giving to the players here in any other sport would take months of negotiation and a lot of things to be given up here. Is that why the players have been so, I don't want to say cool with, but it does seem like the NHL players have been much cooler with a lot of the ideas than a lot of the other sports going in? Are they going into quarantine starting Monday at their home training camps, and then they'll travel together to Canada and then they're in quarantine? So this is like a, hey boys, we're going on like a 2-month run here where we're going to be away from everybody.
100%. And you couldn't have said that any better. I mean, that's spot on. So one of the things that I think has really happened, the players realize that in order for the business model to function, they have to be party to it and be real active participants in it. And I think they've done that through these discussions with the ownership group and with the league. And the owners understand that without the players, it's pretty darn tough to run your business. So both groups kind of got their head around this, and they said, okay, we got to work together here. And I think they've done a real good job. Donald Fear at the PA deserves a lot of credit with Matthew Schneider and Glenn Healy, and at the league office, Bill Daly and Gary Bettman again. Phenomenal work.
Pierre, what conference are you? Where are you, in a doctor's office? What is going?
You won't believe this. I'm working at a hockey camp. I'm giving back to the game in Boston. I've been doing this.
The bean!
And so I'm at a real good friend of mine. He owns the rink. His name is Scott Fusco. He and his brother Mark both won the Hobie Baker playing at Harvard, which is a Heisman Trophy for hockey. The only brothers that have ever won the Hobie Baker. So I'm at that rink Been coming here for 15 years, and it's a pleasure just to give back to the game and work with young players.
Well, Harvard hockey is never going to happen again, but that that is awesome that they accomplished that. Do you just show them film of Sidney Crosby the entire time and say, just do that?
You know what? It would be a good idea, but because of quarantining and all that different stuff, Pat, we're not allowed to really be in tight. We get the kids on the ice where we have 12 on each team. Then they go outside. So if we had film study, Pat, I'd be showing them Sidney Crosby. Yeah,
best player ever. Let's talk about the quarantine, social distancing rules, and everything like that. We saw the MLS. They debuted the MLS's back tournament a couple nights ago. They came onto the field with masks. They played for 97 or 90 or 100 minutes. Breathing, sweating, bumping into each other. And then as soon as that game was over, they had to go into mask and weren't allowed to talk to each other. The NFL just came out yesterday and said, like, hey, here's some of the protocols that we'll be enforcing this year to help social distance. For 60 minutes, or if overtime happens, guys will be spearing each other. Guys will be hand-to-hand combat, headbutting each other. And then immediately afterwards, can't even share a jersey with each other. Don't even think about dapping each other up. You have to be standing 6 feet away from each other. All that stuff, right? So there's a lot of interesting rules that are getting put into place to try to make it as safe as possible while also executing the sport. What is the NHL doing? What are the rules there? Are we going to, hey, if Sidney Crosby goes to score 6 goals in the first game, is he allowed to go down the bench and do the fist bump down the entire thing?
I don't think we're going to have that.
Oh! No! I was going to break his stick, Pierre. What about after a playoff series? Whenever they have the shake hands line, which is like one of the biggest traditions in the history of hockey with the playoff.
You know what? That's a good point. That's something that I was talking about the other day with a friend of mine who plays in the league, and I don't even know whether that's going to happen or not. It is one of the great traditions. Are we just going to bump elbows? Is that how it's going to work? I don't know. But I do know one thing. They're really being progressive in these pods. So that you talked about Edmonton and Toronto being 2 of the pods that we'll be going to. The thing is that players will be getting tested. Each team will be on a different floor. You won't be able to navigate with another player and another team in the hotel. You can only get on your own team's bus. You can only get in your own team's dressing room. You can't commingle with other people that you might be friendly with from other teams. So it's going to be pretty tough conditions. It's going to be pretty Spartan, Pat. It really is.
Are they allowed to check people?
Oh, yeah, that'll be part of it.
Doesn't that just kind of cancel out literally everything you just said there?
Yeah, I know. I wish I was a medical expert. I could give you more. I'm a follically impaired former coach.
How did it become? Because the question was, it's going to be Vegas, and then people are thinking maybe Columbus, maybe Toronto. Does Gary Bettman just call Canada and go, hey, is there any way you can get rid of that 14-day mandatory quarantine for anybody coming from out of the country so that we can come lock our entire league up there in Canada? How did it become 2 Canadian cities? Because I think the last time we talked, it was like, well, it might be tough to have a Canadian city even though they want it because of the rules and regulations. Does Gary Bettman just call Canada and do that?
I think there were a lot of people that called, not just Gary Bettman. I think a lot of the Canadian owners, whether it be the people in Winnipeg or the people in Edmonton, the people in Toronto, the people in Montreal, there's a lot of political capital that I think was spent. But the other thing, and I give credit where credit's due, the Canadians have done a phenomenal job handling this. They really have. And they deserve a lot of credit for it. Edmonton is in a very safe position right now. Toronto's in a real healthy position right now. So I give them a lot of credit. I think Prime Minister Trudeau was lobbied by a lot of different people, and I think he realized it was probably going to be really good for the economy for those 2 cities in particular.
If Edmonton, you say, is doing very well, if that thing opens back up, will the players be allowed to open back up, or will they have to abide by the NHL rules?
I don't know what you're talking about. The players meaning what?
So, like, if the players are in Edmonton in their pod, but the city of Edmonton's like, hey, this is, by the way, we are now in phase, I don't know if they're doing the same phases as us, phase 4, phase 5.
4, I know what you're saying, yep.
If Edmonton opens back up because of the, like, let's say, how long is this going to last, by the way? How long are they going to be in these pods, you think?
Oh, first of all, Edmonton's going to host the Eastern Conference Final and the Western Conference Final and the Stanley Cup. So if you go all the way to the final, you could be there for 3 months if you were part of the West. So you're going to be there for a while. But no, once you're in the pod, this is the way it was described to me, Pat. Once you're in, you're staying in. And whether they change the rules or not in society, you're staying in your pod.
Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place. Go ahead, dude.
Pierre, so it came out this week that there's going to be 3 games pretty much each day at each location. Are you as announcers going into locations, or will you be calling each game at that certain location? Or are you guys going to be calling from an off-site situation?
Great question. As far as I know, I'm going to be going to one of the pods. I'm actually
All right, let's
waiting.
go, Pierre. Lock it down, Pierre. 3 months. Lock it down. Oh, no. Oh, no. Did we lose you? No. Oh, we lost you, Pierre? Pierre, no, you're back. You're back. Pierre, you're back. So
I'm here.
You're going to be up there for 4 months, 3 months? You're going to be up in Edmonton for 3 months?
Yeah, I will be. I just don't know which pod I'll be in yet, but I'm waiting for that assignment.
Oh, what are you going to do? You're getting into video games? You a video game guy? What the hell are you going to do?
I'm going to be watching you, and I'm going to be watching football when I'm on my downtime.
Oh.
Training camp, you know?
It's not going to be college football, I'll tell you that. Sure, son. Pierre, I don't know if
it won't be college football. But I think your brand of football is going to exist.
I think so, too. They're going to power that through. But the next couple weeks, just like the MLB, the NFL and the NFLPA, I think it is going to get – like, I hope they do it like the – and this, by the way, 2020 is a wild city. I hope that the NFL and the NFLPA handle this like the NHL and the NHLPA handled this entire thing. And I think the fact that the NHL has been at the forefront of like, hey, let's not go ahead and just demolish our reputation with our fans because we're going to make this ugly in public. I think it's going to be the opposite, though. I think the NFL and the NFLPA are going to be a bit public. The NHL and the NHLPA handling this behind closed doors is a miracle. I have no idea how that happened.
Well, again, it goes back to, I think, leadership, really strong and really forceful and smart leadership from both sides. And I think both parties really realize you can't exist without the other party. And I think they did want to create a spirit of cooperation. They certainly did that on the NHLPA side and the ownership side.
Did they send an email out early? Like, hey, do not listen. Listen, we're going to get a deal done. Don't tell anybody about anything. We'll figure this out. Nobody needs to know our business. Like, is that a message that is actually sent out to because that's coaches, that's general managers, that's players, that's trainers, that's literally everybody it felt like was very buttoned up and didn't say a damn thing about anything, even if they had real questions or concerns.
Our sport's pretty good at that. You know, most of the guys come from humble beginnings, whether you're a farm boy in Canada or you're a kid that grew up in the United States and had to leave home when you were 14 years old. Most of the kids are coming from pretty humble backgrounds, and I think they follow instruction really well, but they also know their passion and they care about the sport. They care about the well-being of the sport, Pat. They really do.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. What up, Nick?
Pierre, you mentioned that they're going to try and keep the teams and players separate from each other in the hotels. And I don't know if you saw the list of who's staying in what hotel, but it seems like that was a little bit of misjudgment in putting Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh all in the same hotel because those teams hate each other and love to mix it up.
Or smart move, because they hate each other so much, these dudes will not mingle with each other.
True. They're going to have to call in the Mounties, I think, to keep them separated.
It's tough. Are they trying to set up a little
I'll
fight
give you one
island?
good Mountie story. Canadians, politicians, or not politicians, but the RCMP is so strict. You talked about the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that I have friends across the border that have properties in Canada. And once you cross the border, if you're not quarantined for 14 days, you're in big trouble. The RCMP actually calls you to make sure that you're at your property and they can track you once you cross the border. So it's pretty significant.
Are they going to have the horses at the end of each hall, like at the end of each floor? Like, hey, get back in your bedroom.
Well, you're a football guy. One of the great traditions in Canadian Football League action is the Grey Cup. And at the end of the Grey Cup, it's one of the iconic shots in all of sport is to see the two Mounties carry the Grey Cup into the stadium. It's an awesome shot. If you ever get a chance to see it, check it out, Pat. It's really cool to see.
Well, one of my favorite shots is whenever you and the boys hand over the Stanley Cup to Sidney Crosby. And I think you're going to be doing that in about 3 months up there in Edmonton. I can't thank you enough. Pierre, you're the best, dude.
I'm going to come on with you whenever you ask. It's just a pleasure to be on with you. And I love your passion for our game. We're so grateful to have you as a supporter. Thanks, Pat.
Big hockey guy. Big hockey guy.
Oh, yeah.
Big hockey guy. Will you talk to us from the bubble, or are you not allowed to?
Yes.
Yes! Yeah. We have an insider! We have an insider, ladies and gentlemen. Pierre McGuire, you're the best. Yeah! He's awesome.
The best.
He is so awesome. And, you know, before we had him on the first time, if you read what anybody said about him, everybody hated him, right? Like, people bash on him. And then we talked to him. I'm like, oh, this guy's the coolest guy that maybe ever exists. Hockey people don't like him because I assume that I don't know why. Why do you guys not like him, Nick?
I think a lot of people don't like him because when he presents information on a broadcast, he kind of overloads you with information about where the guy was.
knows the game.
The guy's so smart. Of course, hockey fans hate that.
And the other thing is, a lot of fan bases think he's basically putting your team down and he's sucking up to the other team.
Oh, that's classic commentary.
He puts everyone over, so it
Yes.
makes it seems like he is going against your team, but you're just not paying attention.
By the way, good wrestling term there, put somebody over. Look at that, Diggs. You want to explain to people what that means?
I don't know if I can. It means that you make them you pretty fluff up.
Like porn?
Fluffer?
Kind of.
Similar
But in a
positive fashion. You talk about someone in a positive fashion.
Yeah, you're putting them over. You're selling them to
Yes.
people.
A
Basically.
confidence fluffer.
You're selling the person or the thing to the people that are listening. And if you put over everybody at some point, if you're putting over people on one side more than the other side, because maybe, by the way, that particular evening, that side has nothing to be sold, then you could see how those fans are like, well, everybody's against us. We hate it. It happens in commentating all the time.
Like, don't get Pierre started on leadership. We start talking about leadership, he'd have taken up the second hour as well.
Well, he did. He started. He can't talk about leadership, and then the spirit of cooperation. I mean, he has some good words up there. He's up at a camp now. They got socially distanced fixed to help the kids get back into the sport.
I like that. Sounds like he'll be in between the boards.
No mask,
No mask.
No problem.
or maybe he'll have one of them Mounties right behind him with like a stick. Mask on. Mask off.
Think about him between the boards with no fans. He's gonna be able to hear every single thing that is said on that bench.
Well, I just
and then
heard
relay
Sydney
it.
just said, "Ha! Here we got a guy inside the bubble."
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we got to get to a break. Thank you so much, Pierre Maguire, for joining us and chit-chatting. Congrats to hockey. Just the sport of hockey. Just the entire thing. From Mighty Ducks to every pond in Canada and Russia and Czech. Yeah, you get it. And all that. Like, congrats to the sport of hockey. The NHL is doing it here.
I'm still waiting for
Hell
that to screw it
yeah.
up.
We got to get back to the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Ozzie Guillen joins us in the second hour.
Wow.
Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make
all the
them
money you
tear
can.
the uniform
Absolutely.
off of
Yes,
you.
sure.
Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches! Cut the music! Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. By the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh, yeah. That is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in there for you.
Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, 50,000, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there's $50,000 in there. Yeah, so there's $50,000.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
Did you rob a bank?
Oh man. Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
We did it?
Couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money. You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
Well, and you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration. Because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth. "51 minutes after the hour." Just got off a great conversation with Pierre McGuire. I love that guy.
Godfather of hockey.
The NHL is coming back. Intern Mitt is here as well. I didn't intro him throughout the show. I was going to do like a slow intro of everybody whenever they join the conversation. You know, like, hey, welcome to the party type thing. You know what I mean? But, I mean, we didn't get there. Like, Evan Fox is here as well.
Yeah, it was a little down in the dumps at the beginning of the show, Pat, because of all the NCAA stuff. But Pierre McGuire brought it back.
Go green. Yeah, but, like.
Not now.
Whoa. Wow. That game was very close. Because everybody knows if you're a Michigan State fan, whenever you say what, Zito?
Go green.
The return answer is
go white.
That's a wild thing. That's a wild thing to be screaming, Foxy.
You guys asked for it.
Disgusting.
It's surprising that as a Michigan State fan, you still like enjoy college sports.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
like
college basketball, we would have won the title this year, but COVID came in and kicked our ass.
There is a chance that team would have.
They were hot. They were so hot. We had the best player in the nation, Cassius Winston, best coach in the nation.
I don't know if he's the best player in the nation.
Yeah, he was definitely the best player in the nation. Senior point guard, going to lead us to the. He had made the Final Four a year before.
I like he did the old kiss of the Spartan thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it was cute.
Yeah, all the seniors do that.
Yeah. Let's go to Pepe.
Oh yeah,
Pepe in Mexico. Aquí estamos, mi amigo.
Hey, muy bien, ¿cómo están?
Hey,
That's huge honor, man.
Hey, the honor's all mine, Pepe. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, first things, huge Gold fan since Jeff George, Captain Comeback Harbaugh, and then the good years with you guys. So good to be on the show.
Oh, we appreciate you.
Also, big show today. Happy Friday for everyone and shout out, guys. Now, 3 things only, man. 1, some of us are going through tough times with this crazy corona thing. So thank you very much for what you're doing. You're giving us a lot to laugh at, and thanks for getting us through it.
Okay, Pepe.
You're a guy.
Hey, Pepe, we appreciate you. We're lucky to do it, brother. We're getting through this thing together.
All right, we're doing it. Let's go. Now, second one, may I get a shout-out? I'm getting married in August, so following your steps, man.
Congratulations, Pepe. Hey, we got 20 seconds, Pepe, until a hard out. Need this last one, brother.
Possible return to college sport. Mike Gundy. He's a stooge, and you're talking about not returning. What do you think about him and the things he says?
Great question, Pepe. It's a very interesting situation in college football all around. Hour 1 is wrapping up. We'll see you on the other side. 3 quick things.
Yeah.
3 quick things. Oh, Pepe, college football does feel as if it's not coming back this year.
January at
NFL
best.
better play on Saturdays. Then. That's all I got to say.
That's, by the way, I forget who I asked. I asked somebody. I said, should I text Roger Goodell or how does this work to tell him, get the Saturday football schedule ready from week 1. Let's go. Let's go. Maybe, hey, by the way, I understand the guys in the NFL are not going to be happy with me saying that. They're like, oh, so you want us to have 6 days and then 7 days. Like, I apologize. I understand how it feels sometimes whenever a former player gets in on a microphone and forgets exactly what it's like to be in the league and how hard it is to be in the league and all that stuff. But now, hey, now that I'm in this position and college football is not going to happen on Saturday, I mean, golf should maybe think about moving their Sunday final day to Saturday somehow.
Start on Wednesday.
Start on Wednesday and move that thing up. So then the final day is Saturday if they're going to take place of college football. And if PGA is not going to do that, which we're not 100% sure if they would be able to make that decision, that seems like too easy of a decision to make. Why don't they make that decision, actually? They should.
This year, that'd be genius.
That would be a smart move. That should happen. And if they don't, by the way, hey, Commish, come on. You're in your basement in your big old chair. You're doing cool things. Move some games to Saturday. Just one, maybe Saturday night. Just give us one game.
Yeah.
Give us a primetime Saturday night game. It could be Saturday, Sunday, Monday night we got games. And then if you look at Thursday potentially there, Thursday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, NFL games. Come on.
Roger needs to realize, too, M&M's on Saturdays taste so
much better.
Oh, my God.
Oh, when you're sitting in that chair, you've been sitting for, what, 25 years or whatever he said? Just think about Saturday night. Because he kept saying NFL football when he pointed out his TV, by the way. That's where I watch NFL football. Hey, Raj, got a good idea for you. Could be all NFL football because you guess what college football is going to do. Well, they're probably not going to be able to play because of the old pandemic thing that happened here in the world. So go ahead, Raj, take that thing to a Saturday night. That's what should fucking happen. Let's go. That'd be awesome. Thursday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, NFL football.
And think about that Saturday, too, right? You finish that game, the Saturday night football game. What's coming on at 11:45?
AFL.
The AFL, baby. You're rolling right into another sport.
Oh, my God. By the way, shout out Collingwood Magpies. We are back. Coxie, by the way, back. Just like I said before, I think it was yesterday or something like that. Got a lot of people on Coxie's ass right now, Coxzilla. He was coming out of a quarantine, okay? Then he gets injured. Then he stumbles a little bit out of the gate, okay? He has to find his big-ass sea legs, by the way. He is a 6'7" Coxzilla monster. This morning gets first points. Here we go. Coxzilla's back. Magpies are back. And I'm going to tell you, the AFL, I don't think they're ready for the type of defense and punishing play that the Collingwood Magpies put on. It's not a beautiful, it's not like an artsy-fartsy game, okay? It's not like that. Collingwood Magpies hold down the fort in the back, and this morning, the Hawks just had to eat one, especially from the big cocks.
And you said it, the sun is always brightest after its darkest dawn.
And for Coxzilla, that's happening. For the Magpies, that's happening. And boys, I think with the tide turning, you all need to look the fuck out.
Well, you know who they got next week, right?
We got Geelong Cats.
Oh, yeah. Who played the Juego Bonita. They do play the beautiful game.
Well, everybody knows, whenever you try to dance and whenever you try to spear normally wins. Just want to let you know, the spear, the hammer is much better than the little dancing nail. Just at some point, it's going to hit it on the head, and that's what's going to happen. The Geelong Cats do play a very mesmerizing style of play.
Yeah, but very good.
Very good, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
but hey,
good.
we're going to grind and pound you, pal. Just wait until you come into the Magpies snake pit, pal.
Honestly, it might be good for Collingwood, though, because you saw how they played against like a bruiser team. So maybe they do play better against a smaller.
You talking about GWS Goons?
Yeah.
No, they played bad. They weren't. By the way, Steel Cy. This is without Steel Cy.
Fired up the boys.
Wait until Sober Steel comes back in a couple weeks. It's over, dude. Magpies are all the way back. I was never going to leave. Everybody knows that.
No. There's stands in the stands too.
You're trying to motivate
up top.
Yeah,
I heard them. I think they're piping in noise too. If you have some fans in a stand, very easy to kind of pipe in a little bit extra. Nobody will even know. Look, it could be that guy and that one person that's 20 yards away doing
Colts.
it. No problem at all.
Falcons.
Colts never did it, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They never did it.
Not when I was there, I'll tell you that.
That's
People
true.
actually called Lucas Oil Stadium the Lucas Library whenever they play against us. I know they didn't pipe any, but it was comfortable. It was beautiful. And when it had to be loud, it got loud. But there were some times there where I would hit a punt and you could hear that thing echo off of the entire stadium.
It's almost too comfortable in there.
It's too good. It's exactly what it is. It's too nice. I think there's great Wi-Fi. The seats are great. I think everything like that. And you kind of get comfortable in there. It's like, oh, that's kind of nice.
I'm enjoying this.
Greedy corporate fat cats.
No.
Every time.
No, it's a nice stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. It's voted number one every single year. It's just not as loud and rambunctious all the time as I would hope. But those are the uncomfortable, terrible stadiums that you can normally get that in. Seems like your guys are shit. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, July 10th. Welcome back to hour 2 here of the Pat McAfee Show. A lot of things to talk about in the sporting world. We talked to Pierre Maguire in the first hour. Talked about the NHL's return to play and how he talked about a spirit of cooperation between the NHL and the NHLPA is really what us got back to skates on ice, sticks on puck, because they both wanted to protect the game. Now, the MLB obviously went through some terrible times in negotiation. Publicly, it was ugly, but they're all back in spring training playing games against each other. Well, I'm watching MLB highlights now on the internet and on TV. McCutcheon got walked and did an entire hat tip, even to the tip of the cap to the empty stadium. There's diving catches, there's home runs, there's pitchers walking people, there's pitchers with nasty curveballs. The baseball is going to come back, and nobody thought it was going to be able to because it has to be played in individual stadiums because the local bills are worth so much. So even though it was public dispute, the MLB is all the way back. I'm happy for them. I'm pumped for them. And we'll talk to Ozzie Guillen in 30 minutes about everything happening in the MLB, both now and in the past. The NFL, going to be interesting to see how they come back. Going to be very, very interesting. They're already putting in guidelines and rules that aren't making a lot of sense for people. And if they're not making a lot of sense and people are publicly hating on them, it means they're probably going to be tough to enforce, which means are they ever going to happen? And if they don't happen, is that going to be a penalty? How's that going to play out? Nobody cares. Get ready for some pettiness here for the next couple weeks. But the NFL will come back by July 28th whenever training camp is supposed to start. That's only 18 days. That could be tough. Speaking of tough, college football is staring down a barrel right now, probably not having a season. They are trying to adjust right now. They made some business decisions and said that we will play interconference games. We'll play amongst each other in the conference. The Big Ten confirmed it. Pac-12 and ACC have reported that they are also in agreement with this, and they're all on that commissioner's call that they have weekly that we were told about by the Ivy League executive director, Robin Harris, that they're talking every week. Let's assume everybody's going to get in on that board. They're going to play against each other in the conference, but that is strictly a business decision. That is not a COVID-19 decision. That is a business decision because they don't want to have to play the smaller schools or out-of-conference schools that they'll have to play. They don't have to travel extra trips to games that don't matter as much whenever it comes to the grandstands of things. So you got 9 games, 8 games. Notre Dame, an independent team, will be playing in the ACC. Will they be stuck in the ACC after this? Is the scheme, I don't want to call it a scheme. Kind of.
Call it a scheme.
It is a scheme.
Yeah, it is.
Is the scheme of Notre Dame, the independent school with national television rights with NBC every single week, playing against whoever, whenever, getting to kind of call their own shot? Are those days numbered with this whole interconference talk? Or does it not even matter because once COVID-19 gets involved in this business decision that was made by all these conferences yesterday, the season's probably not even going to happen anyways. And that's a bummer. But remember, other sports are coming back, and that is what we will continue to talk about. At Nick Moraldo's here wearing a great polo. You look very thin, Nick. Have you been working out the last couple of days? Maybe 2 days.
2 days. That's a good thing about my body being a skinny stooge. It doesn't take much to transform.
Here we go. You are a lanky, wiry fella. You always have been. And in a lot of cases, that could be mocked and ridiculed because in certain situations, you probably look weak or soft or small. But as we got older, that body turns out to be the one that you definitely want because everybody else's body gets spark plug fat and not being able to move. But for you, you're in a good spot, always have been.
Yeah, growing up, we always knew it was a long game. We always knew we'd finish strong, so that was the plan.
Incredibly skinny people have to think like that. Like, even though you might be just considered a little tiny, little scrawny bitch at the moment, know that in 15, 20 years from now, when all your friends are fat, you're going to be the envy of the conversation.
Yeah, or you go Bryson DeChambeau, you drink 9 protein shakes a day, dabble in maybe some other things.
Whoa!
Regulars.
What'd you say?
And you show up 2 months later looking like a jacked beast, leading the tour in driving distance.
Ed Evan Foxy is also one of those scrawny little tiny little guys that
Bingo.
you referred to his entire life, probably mocked and ridiculed, probably wasn't able to wear tank tops and stuff like that. But now his body is transforming into one that he'll be skinny forever, and now he's getting yoked up. Have you thought about maybe doing the DeChambeau 9 protein shakes, kind of maybe put on 30, 40 pounds and drive the ball further than 215 yards?
That's not for me, Pat. I also am with Nick. I don't think it's just the protein shakes.
What?
What do you think?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Fox.
Say it.
No,
Say it.
I'm not gonna
Say it.
I mean,
Well,
I'm gonna
say it.
say it. I've been skinny my whole life, and protein shakes are not going to make you look like that.
Bryson DeChambeau is a little bit thicker, I think, than
than
your
Foxy,
guys'
yeah,
is
for
a little
sure.
scrawny.
I mean, I'm very skinny, but
Wow.
he was still
How
pretty
many
skinny.
protein shakes are you drinking, Fox?
Just 1 protein bar a day.
That's not true. You had
Maybe
2
that's
yesterday.
your problem.
Protein shakes are a little bit different than protein bars.
I'm aware, but
Because that's kind of like sludge moving into your body, you know what I mean? Those protein bars just have all the sugar in the world in them, and you're just kind of eating them like it's a Snickers.
I'm happy for him, though. It's working.
It is working. The ATM is running to DeChambeau's house. But Tiger Woods is back next
Bingo.
weekend officially. Probably going to win that tourney if I had to guess. And DeChambeau, big meathead, has to run into a jungle cat. At Tone Diggs, your thoughts on the state of sports wearing a great polo as well. Great polo on
Thank
your
you.
top.
I was a little upset yesterday because when the college football news came out that they're everyone's going to play just the conference schedule, people were like, well, why don't we just cancel the whole thing? And I thought that was probably the dumbest thought I've ever heard of in my life. Like, you would rather have no games than 9 games. Like, that does the non-conference schedule mean so much to you that you want to cancel an entire sport because of it? It upset me. It upset me quite a bit.
Yeah, but those people saying that to you are they realize, like I think as you do now, that this was just a business we're trying to do. This was a bottom line decision by the Big Ten. That's all this was. Big Ten, Pac-12, and ACC. Bottom line. That's all it was. Nothing else.
But let's play football.
Yeah, but the reason why football is potentially up in the air and all these other sports are up in the air is not necessarily because of the bottom line. Now, granted, there is business decisions to be made between unions and leagues. It's because of that other thing that
What?
The raging bitch COVID-19.
No.
Yeah, that is what they're talking about.
Harbaugh said it.
I think that's what they're talking about.
Harbaugh said it. Sports didn't create COVID, and there's no science that bringing sports back is going to make it any worse.
No, you're right. Hey, Jim Harbaugh, right? Guy wears khakis. Has been a great football coach in a lot of different places. Has been a bad football coach in a lot of different places. But a legendary man, captain comeback here for the Indianapolis Colts. He has said, I mean, literally right from his brain to our ears, hey, we have no idea. And by the way, I would like to potentially say, nobody has a clue about anything with this COVID-19 still. And we're, 3.5 months into this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows anything about it. Nobody has a clue.
Listen, I know you've got your fingers stuck between helmets and stuff like that. You think COVID wants that? You think COVID's going to go anywhere near a football field?
Well, yesterday, your scientific theory was that when you have a high heart rate, COVID-19 stays away from you because it's kind of like a thing. And we thought maybe Red Bull vodkas then are the greatest at doing that to your heart rate. Maybe they are the cure for COVID-19. We got fact checked a couple times yesterday on the internet. Turns out that is not 100% accurate, but what do they know? Has that been tested?
No.
Have we put somebody just chugging Red Bull vodkas all day in front of COVID-19 and see if COVID-19 wants to dance or not? We have not done that.
No.
So we will not officially take that as a no. Seems like it's not, but maybe you're right. Maybe the physicality of football will ultimately be the thing that scares COVID-19 to stay away.
I'll probably have one medical theory a day on why football should come back and not worry about it.
Hey, one of them's going to hit, pal.
Yeah.
And I think NFL will come back. That college one, though, feels like it's a long gone.
Dead.
At Ty Schmidt, big Iowa football fan.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go Hawks. How's it going?
Yeah, Hawkeye State, baby.
That team's going to look very different. I think strength coach gone, a lot of other things gone. College football's not going to happen. But what are your thoughts on sports, Ty?
I just want baseball to come back before it eventually
Have you been
gets
watching
canceled.
these inter-squad games?
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
I love it.
Me too.
And it'll be interesting to see too, because they threw around when returning to play first started that like guys aren't going to be able to sit in the dugout. They're going to be like scattered kind of around like the lower bowl there. So I just want to see what the games are like and if it is very simple. Because right now, like, doesn't matter that there's no fans in there. Like, I mean, you're hearing the pop of like the ball go into the glove and everything. Like, that's the best. I love that. I just want it to start If it doesn't finish, it doesn't finish. But I just want to watch a little bit of baseball.
Everybody knows about me. I'm a big hit guy. Like when I step in a batter's box, I make contact.
Yeah, hit king.
That's a hit king. That's what contact king.
Contact king. Baby.
Contact king. So I like that sounded up. You know what I mean? Like, I like that a lot. And there's some guys hitting some bombs right now in spring training.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talk to Ozzie Guillen in 22 minutes, I'm going to ask him, like, what would your message be to your team here with a 60-game sprint? Like, what is the mindset going in? And what if a pitcher struggles early? Like, are you going to pull? Would you pull that pitcher and, like, say, hey, figure it out? Or do you have to keep him going until he finds a groove? Because it looks like some batters are in a groove in the spring training stuff we're watching. And then it looks like some pitchers are in a groove, but it's not necessarily all pitchers and all hitters. It's like a bounce back and forth. How do you handle that as a manager? West World Series champ Ozzie Guillen. You're excited for us to talk to him?
Yeah, very much so. Used to love seeing Ozzie's sound bites whenever he'd come on SportsCenter or whatever.
He was fiery, right?
Oh yeah, no filter.
Spark
Didn't
plug.
care who he pissed off, and he was a good manager. So it was he could do whatever he wanted, kind of.
Jason McAfee's here in the corner, hiding. Looks fantastic. Good to see you, Jay. Hey, happy birthday, Jay.
Happy birthday, Jay.
Happy birthday, Jay. At Viva Lazito's here wearing his diet mask because we are in a county that has to be socially distant. He's the only person that we couldn't socially distance from each other, so he put on a COVID-19 mask, which he remarketed and rebranded as a diet mask because he thought it would help him lose some weight because he can't stick food in there. It did not work yesterday. He lifted that thing up anytime he saw a piece of food. So now hot dogs, corn dogs, burgers, tater tots. I mean, there was an entire thing yesterday. That thing was maybe acting like a beer bong almost, catching food that was going in.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So today you put on a helmet on top to protect yourself from that situation. But we must ask, how is that going to help you at all? Because everybody knows the classic helmet slip up is something that Zito would definitely do.
I'm going to say this helmet's so tight that I can barely breathe. But, hey, it is working. I feel like I'm losing weight or air. I don't know yet.
There's nobody like you, buddy.
Thank you.
You like, you like beer?
I still like beer. Buy it now.
Zito loves that shirt.
He does.
I love
Good
that
shirt.
shirt.
It's his favorite shirt, he said.
I have 4 of them.
Really?
So that's where
I would wear it every
that's where
day,
all of ours
but-
went.
Oh, I don't think we got any of those.
No.
Nobody liked this shirt.
Oh,
sure.
I would wear that shirt. I will.
Very nice of you, Zito. Very nice of you to do that for the guys. At Evan Foxy's here and on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. Hey, we got an international call from Mexico earlier at Boston Connor.
Yeah, Pepe was a little firecracker. Pat, I have a question for you, Mr. Contact King. You opened a Fritos bag yesterday with one chip in it.
Oh, are you kidding me?
What the hell was that?
So my lady, there's a golf outing happening for my foundation today, and my lady was putting together gift bags for everybody. So she went and got Fritos. Sticking very nice.
Thank you.
You haven't seen them yet. They are very nice gift bags. And I think when Sam agreed to do it, she did not know the amount of people that were going to be there.
Yep.
You know? And there's a certain way this has to happen for social distancing. Certain people come at this time, certain people come at this time. So things have to be kind of separated too. I don't think she knew exactly how many bags she had to make whenever she told my old man, yeah, no problem. I'll do that for you. I can definitely do that. So, yesterday there was a lot of stuffing and packing and moving and bagging. Okay. There was a lot of that going on. But one thing stuck out to her was this one Frito bag that she got, and she pulled it out. And I'm a big Frito guy, by the way. Love
Fritos.
Oh my God. You put you can put salsa in there, and you can put some beef in there and cheese, shredded cheese, and then you go ahead and shake that thing up, and you got whatever, white trash nachos or whatever anybody calls it. I mean, Fritos on sandwiches are next level. I mean, Fritos corn chips are delicious. So I haven't had them in a while. It's not just something you just kind of, as an adult, maybe as an adult you do. I don't know if it just shows up in your life. I guess at the gas station, if you're in a state of desperation and you see them, you're like, you know what? I remember whenever I was just housing these. These are good. And then you take your first bite, you're like, cool, still good, still got it. Okay, good news. But Sam says, how many corn chips you think are in this thing right here? And I looked at it, and she wouldn't let me touch it, and it was completely sealed. And I was like, I don't know. What do you think? 15 normally in those things? You think 15's a good number? Because they're thin and small.
A little higher.
You think? No. You think?
For Fritos?
Yeah, 15 to 20.
15, 20?
I'd even say 25, 30.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
I agree.
Yeah.
Really?
No. Yeah, I would.
By the way, I would feel very good if I got 30 corn chips in
yeah,
my
it'd be
little
great.
tiny little snack size
They'd
bag.
be out of business if they're putting 30 in them.
Well, it turns out they might be going out of business because the one that I did guess 15 to 20 on It had 1.3 corn chips in that entire thing. The entire thing. Completely sealed, closed. You know, every once in a while you get a French fry that's attached to another French fry, and you're like, oh, best fry in the nacho attached to another one. Okay, best nacho you ever had. Sometimes in those chips you'll get a little bit extra than somebody else. You're like, oh, this is good. I have never got one that had one basically full chip in it. I've never got that before. Completely wrapped, signed, sealed, delivered. That was a little bit of a heartbreaker, but I think we should send out maybe T's and P's for Frito-Lays. They could be going under. So they're only putting one corn chip in a bag. I mean, that could be problematic. Unfortunately, I do believe Fritos are potential. I mean, they're giving out one chip in a bag.
Are Fritos the sponsor of college football?
Oh
no!
I don't. They can't sponsor it. They would. This is the year Fritos would. If I know anything about what the state of Fritos right now with the chips that I saw in the bag that we got, this is the only year they could potentially sponsor college football because it's not going to happen. So it'd be $0.
It's just the checking department because of COVID-19, the facilities there's not as many people allowed, so they just skimped on the check the bags department. It was just an oversight.
I got like 6 messages from people that work at Frito-Lays.
Really?
Yeah, I did not know they had that big of a plant.
Oh, no.
It's a machine. I guess it happens all the time.
Oh, sure.
Not all the time, but it happens.
Well, that's a problem.
Well, it's a machine. You take this out of, blue collar workers' hands here.
That'll happen.
Are literally procuring each corn chip and setting it in there properly so it doesn't get bunched up. I guess they took it to a machine. The machine does mess up, and it means the one in front of me or behind me is absolutely doubled up.
Yeah.
That one's the winner, whoever got that in front of that chip bag.
Fritos better back up the Brinks trucks of Fritos for you, my friend. If
For
they don't-
me.
Yeah, they better bring a dumpster full of them.
I was figuring out whether or not to post that video last night. I was on some vitamins while doing it, while making the video. And I thought it was going to be intriguing because I thought it was going to have maybe too many in it. Like, I thought it was going to be packed to the gills. I'm like, here we go. Maybe we just hit the scratch-off championship of Fritos here. Everybody looks for this bag, begs for this bag. Here we go. Turns out it was the complete opposite. I was like, oh, no. But hey, who am I if if I hide from the truth? I can't do that.
You have to tell the people.
And I add them, by the way. And I don't think they sponsor anybody on the internet, so who gives a damn? Is there any other corn chips that are worth a single?
I mean, Tostitos.
Not
corn pops.
but not in that fashion, not that shape.
Yeah, but I mean,
but guess what? Tostito scoops are pretty good too.
Tostito scoops, by the way, next level.
Fritos scoops also.
Fritos has scoops.
Oh yeah,
they do, but they're not the same. They're not.
How
the
many
same
do you
type.
get in a bag, Diggs?
Quite a bit.
No, I doubt it. I doubt
the
it.
Scoops they stack together kind of in the bag.
No, they don't.
Not your bag, no.
Frito scoops.
Yeah, they're next level.
Also the Fritos.
Oh my god, I did not know that
the
happened.
twisty Fritos.
I
love the chili cheese.
Chili cheese.
Oh my! Intern Mitt is also here. What's up, Mitt?
I love Fritos.
Yeah, you will.
I still love Fritos.
I hope you like RBVs because you will be patient one to see if Red Bull vodkas cure the COVID-19. my friend.
RBVs. 16 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. Ozzie Guillen is in 14 minutes. Cannot wait to chat with him. There's some other sporting news happening. You like the Washington Red Wolves? I like the logo that somebody put together.
Yeah.
It looked awesome. Red Wolves sounds like an Arena League name, but I can also kind of get behind it, I think. Like the Red Wolves. I guess Warriors is in the lead, is what they're saying out of the conversations that are happening behind closed doors over there in D.C. about the new team name. If it's the Red Wolves, I just hope it's the D.C. Red Wolves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
You know what I mean? And if it's the Warriors, I hope it's the D.C. Warriors. The Washington Warriors, Golden State Warriors. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Not very original.
By the way, we only have 18 days for an entire franchise that's been around for a long time to completely change their name, their logo, and everything. If that gets done while the NFL and the NFLPA deals are getting done, miracle. Might put them up there with what Gary Bettman was able to do with the NHL and the NHLPA this quarantine.
I did see something cool with the Red Wolves is if they do that, then they can call the home field the Den.
Oh, then they can howl. The howl is going to be. And by the way, that Den will it still be the FedEx Den? Or
FedEx Den, presented by UPS.
Oh, that whole place howling would be crazy.
That would be awesome.
Wow.
Fourth quarter.
Wolves hunt hogs.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of killing their old logo, you know what I mean? Because the hogs are their thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wolves standing right next to
The
those.
big bad wolf.
Well, you got like those 60-year-old men that dress up like pigs every single game. They're sitting in the crowd, and you have a couple wolves around them. That's gonna be tough.
They might be sick. They might be sick of dressing up as pigs too. Maybe we dress up as wolves this year.
I don't think so. They are potentially the ones that are loudest.
they
Like,
enjoy
hey,
the
don't take
dresses
this
and
hog
stuff.
life out of here. You know what I mean? They got a little curly tail and everything.
Mhm. Wow.
They are passionate though. That's their Fireman Ed.
Yeah, Hogettes, I think. Is
Yeah,
what
the,
they call them.
the hogs and hogettes.
R.I.P. Fireman Ed.
What's going on, dude?
From the YouTube comments, 33 full chips in a bag right now
Like you just
in the Fritos.
Wow.
what kind
Connor,
of bag?
you're right. 25-30.
What kind of bag?
More than
I
that.
don't trust that guy.
Yeah, what would it? Just
Yeah, we can't trust all the YouTube comments. Remember, they came after me for saying that the coronavirus guidelines for sports don't make any sense.
Yeah,
can't trust them.
So you got a lot of dumbasses in there too. Let's not mistake that. But if somebody's coming out with an actual number, I'm just going to assume and have faith that they did their research. They either work at Frito or they just purchased a little snack size bag and went. They probably got the one, by the way.
Yeah, after you.
Maybe that's right after me. So we don't know. We don't know if that's a double bag or a single bag because I have a no bag, so I know there's a double bag somewhere. Because where's the corn chips going? Somewhere. Just not to my house. 18 minutes after the hour, Aussie Gian Big Frito-Lay Empty Bag Show. Huge. This is the Pat McAfee Show Friday, July 10th. Jesus.
Oh shit! Hey Steven, fuck you. Don't cut. And it is off the wall. Don't cut. This is a good at bat. Hey, nice pitch. I think I just pulled a hammy. Hey, back. Hey, fuck you, Steven. What inning?
Top of the second.
Jesus.
Here comes McAfee.
I saw that thing jumping out of the glove.
Hey, what was that? Would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw.
Get back.
First. He's going back on it now. Coming over the center fielder. Harris makes the catch.
Cousin.
James.
What was that?
And the catcher goes, I had to give you one.
1-1 pitch.
Let's go.
Line drive.
Son
right
of a
at
bitch.
the
This is a good at bat. Oh,
In my head, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to drop this for sure. What the fuck are you even doing here? Why'd we sign up for this? What's going on? It all comes down to this. My last at bat. Hey, I'm going to get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker. Let me tell you something. You're going to take an L, okay? You're going to take one.
So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect for you.
Oh, this is hardball. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
Number one, right fielder, McAfee.
Oh, boy.
McAfee at the plate.
Let's get it, let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down on the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Lead the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210, both sitting shoddy. Crack a fit, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is third? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. Expected this?
If you're listening to the show right meow, I want you to take a second and look, Don. When was the last time you shaved your junk? It's been a while, don't lie. Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for a whole new combo to get rid of the funk and shaving up that junk.
That boy Z.
Thanks, guys.
Z.
Thanks, guys. Here's some talking points real quick, and let's get back to the show. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below waist and grooming.
That baby Z.
That boy
Thank you.
Z.
Below waist and grooming, yeah.
I actually added that. It actually says the waist grooming and hygiene.
Oh, okay,
Baby
nice.
Z.
Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit. The perfect tools for your...
Family jewels.
Thanks, guys. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with a new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine.
Hell yeah.
When you purchase a new Perfect Package 3.0 kit at manscaped.com, you get the biggest bang for your buck. I'm going to call to action real quick.
Do it.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AMERICA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use a code AMERICA. Your partner, your body, and your balls will thank you.
What is that again?
I actually just crumpled it up. I forgot.
All right, .com. Great read, Zito. We appreciate you, buddy. Really good. 6 minutes away till Ozzie Guillen joins us. We should talk about ESPN's poll of 50 executives in the NFL, which could be, or NFL personnel. Could be executives, could be coaches, and could be scouts. Now, nobody knows if these are good coaches, good executives, and good scouts, because we all know that there are terrible people at all of those positions. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that these are good executives, good coaches, and good scouts that are doing this poll from ESPN. 50 of them polled. We saw the quarterback rankings the other day that came out. Aaron Rodgers was number 3 overall. Patrick Mahomes was number 1. Russell Wilson was number 2. Aaron Rodgers obviously being forced out of Green Bay. Mm-hmm. Every other player that was on the top 10 list is not being forced out, but actually being thanked for being on their team and getting taken care of.
Yeah, embraced.
Gunther is doing something different. For the wide receivers, the running backs is also out. You can go check that out. Le'Veon Bell's at number 10, which was, in his eyes, staggering. I think if you only judge him after last season, you could think that. But if you look at his overall career, you probably think he's a bit higher. But the wide receivers one is very intriguing to me. Let's go to that right now. Julio Jones, number 1, top of the list. And that is because Julio Jones is 6'40". He runs a 4.2 40, and he can jump higher and further than everybody. You still think about that catch in that Super Bowl that doesn't get talked about because ultimately Falcons fans and Julio probably don't even want to talk about that game ever again. That catch on the sideline is one of the greatest catches to ever exist in the history of the game of football. Yep. But he makes that happen on a regular basis down there. He can catch a screen or a bubble and take it 90 yards, and he can go 60 down the sideline and go up over top, and he can hit a post if he wants to. Yeah. Julio Jones can run every single route. He can play every single position. And this is obviously a massive amount of respect for him given by the 50 executives, coaches, and personnel or scouts who we don't know if they're good or not, but it seems like this is a good decision. I told the story before. I was down in the Bahamas once, and they had blackjack tables around the pool. And I went over to the blackjack table, and there was a man sitting there, and he was in a tank top, a tight tank top, and he had like white pants on, and he seemed to be larger than every human potentially that I'd ever seen before. And he was betting on 3 hands, and he was having times. It was Julio Jones. And I sat down at the table, and then he had no idea who I was. He stood up, and I never looked at somebody like that before, and just said, well, damn. That human is a different animal. The Atlanta Falcons have the stud, and I think that's what everybody thinks. Coming out, everybody knew he was going to be great, and he has lived up to expectation. It's a shame he's been at the Falcons with Matt Ryan. It's a little bit of a shot down there.
No.
They've paid him, too, which is a good idea. Keep him down there. Maybe Matt Ryan can find that magic from a few years back where he was MVP with Kyle Shanahan as offensive coordinator, and since Kyle's left, they kind of stunk. But maybe that'll happen again. Nobody knows. Matt Ryan, good quarterback, not saying that. I watched him throw like 15 yards short on a long ball and Hail Mary against us. I also saw Julio Jones potentially jump over 6 guys against us before. That's next level. Michael Thomas, number 2. Drew Brees at quarterback. That guy's been unstoppable. I think he broke every single record you could potentially break last year when it comes to receptions. He was a focal point of their offense, and everybody knew it going into each and every week. He's young. He hasn't got paid yet. He's going to get broken off, and everybody on the defensive side knows he's going to get the ball, and it doesn't matter. DeAndre Hopkins, number 3 overall. 50 executives, coaches, and scouts voted DeAndre Hopkins for number 3. Yesterday, for the quarterbacks, number 3, Aaron Rodgers. It seems like if you're the third best person at your position in the entire NFL, your coach in your front office could potentially want to get the hell rid of you. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
DeAndre Hopkins was traded for a bag of balls from the Houston Texans, the Arizona Cardinals. Deshaun Watson, who is very high on that list as well, he loses his number 1 target. What are they going to do? Billy O'Stooge said, get him out of here. I don't like it. He brings his kids around or something like that. And now we got Aaron Rodgers obviously being forced out. DeAndre Hopkins, incredible. Number 4, Odell Beckham Jr. OBJ had a bad year last year, but was playing with a hernia. I think a lot of his off-the-field antics have maybe turned people off, but that dude, when he's in shape and playing, and in shape I mean healthy, he's unstoppable. That's why the trade to Cleveland was such a big deal. Can Baker hit him with the ball, though? Can Baker take advantage, and can that offense with Stefanski from the Vikings be able to take advantage of all the offensive weapons that they have? TBD. Tyreek Hill, he's not even a wide receiver. He just plays the football. He just plays anything you could potentially. He is so different than every other human on this list because of the way he plays and the way Andy Reid draws it up. Unstoppable. If you're in the top 5 in the league, I would assume that there's arguments to be made by anybody. Mike Evans, now he's got Tom Brady. Devontae Adams has Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love this year. Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, also down there with Tom Brady, and Amari Cooper. I mean, here we go. The wide receivers top 10 list is interesting. Amari Cooper just got paid for Dallas. He was traded out of Oakland whenever Gruden got there. He's become an immediate impact down there. They got a couple days left to see if they got a quarterback or not this season. It could be Andy Dalton slinging the rock to Amari Cooper. People also getting votes for top 10, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Golladay, A.J. Green, and Cortland Sutton. I wonder why T.Y. Hilton's not getting any love. All the dude does is just rake in yards. Julian Edelman, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer whenever he's said and done. Not in that list. But, hey, these are 50 executives. We don't know if they're good ones or bad ones. This is just what they said.
Where does AB fall on that list if he comes back?
AB is in that top 5 conversation. If he's still in shape, we don't know. We don't know if he's still in shape. Let's pivot out of the football world right into the baseball world. Spring training is currently happening 2.0. Baseball is back. Nobody thought it was going to happen. And one of the most electrifying figures in the history of the sport, World Series champ 2 times, ladies and gentlemen, Ozzie Gill. Ozzie, I'll tell you what, the boys were super pumped to see that your name was coming on our show, as am I. We are so thankful, brother.
No, thank you so much. I just get up this morning watching couple of your shows. They're funny. I like funny shows. I like when people go into it, tell the truth. When you have a show, you got to tell the truth. Sometimes politically correct is, get you anywhere.
Okay, so I was going to ask you about this at some point, but some of your best clips, now granted, you're an incredible manager, right? And so that gets kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. If you have a good personality, sometimes that can get lost in the shuffle. You're an incredible manager, but some of your best clips is whenever you were handling the media and talking to the media. What was your biggest beef with the media? Did you think they were unfair? You think they were stupid? What was the real thing? Because I have my thoughts. I thought they didn't know much about my position, so anybody talked about it, I wanted to slap them in the mouth. It seems like you had a lot more encounters with them, though, and those were always electrifying videos on the internet.
Well, remember, I grew up in Chicago. I grew up playing in Chicago. I know most of the people, all the media in Chicago, and I always try to be honest. And be honest, they know what kind of honesty I have with them. And I think right now the media in Chicago, they're very weak, very, very weak. I work in this side now as a media. Sometimes when they're going to interview the managers, the coaches, either sport, they're really worry about what they're going to ask the guy and they'll get upset. With me, there was maybe because they know they're going to give from me what they want to hear, know what they want to find out. And I think that me, I have, with the media, I don't have any problem at all in Chicago at all. I got in trouble a couple of times of record stuff. and when they put it back, they say, "You really say that?" I said, "No, but it was on record, but I don't say it that way." But yes, I say it that way, and I keep up with my work. And sometimes it got me in trouble. But when they find out the real thing, they know I was right. They know I was trying to molest her or unrespect anybody. But it take me a couple of weeks to make sure that thing every day talking about the same stuff and to get it ready, to get it right, and find, thank God I did it.
Well, Ozzy, it's because it's because of those situations, though, that I think that everybody is drawn to you. And I think you're a guy that in the baseball history books will go down as a very memorable part of the sport of baseball. Let's talk about baseball. Rob Manfred in the MLBPA there, it was ugly for a while. It felt like Rob Manfred, every single time he had a chance, he was sticking his foot in his mouth further. But ultimately, they get a deal done to bring back Spring Training 2.0 and then ultimately a 60-game season. I'll talk to you about that in a bit, but was there a time where you thought baseball was not going to come back because of how ugly it was getting publicly?
I lost a lot of bets. I bet with my kids couple dinner. I bet with guy couple rounds of golf because the thing I see it, and I still look at it that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to say I'm old school baseball guy. I was in the 80s and 90s and even the 70s when I was a fan. I cannot see baseball the way they're going to play it this year. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to see the difference is baseball is between 2020 and the rest of the baseball life. It's going to be weird. You're going to no fans. Players can't even be talking to each other. They don't know what they're going to say. Everything is confusing. Players cannot be together at the dugout, but they can be together in the clubhouse. I don't know. The disease is going to be transmitted from 2 feet to another. Media not be covered. The media not going to be covered. I think they just did it because remember next year is going to be a big step for baseball. They're going to talk about the future of the game. I think Manfred, he got a tough time. He got a very tough time because it's a very tough situation for him because sometimes not the Mets, if they play or not, if the governor going to demand it. And besides that, I think Clark, he have a problem because when players was tweeting and players saying stuff that back and forth. And I said in the show one day, I said, listen, if I was Clark, I made sure to all my players shut up. We handle this. This is not an easy situation because players go back and forth like, well, we do, we don't, we don't care, we do, we care. And that make the transaction a little bit tougher and difficult. And I'm glad they're playing. I'm not against, I'm not with them. I'm not support them because I think they're going to play in weird situations. I love it because I'm going to make money out of that game. I'll be working on TV, but it's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting how this season is going to handle it because it's going to be 100% different than what we see in the past.
Okay, so let's talk about the season, how it's going to be different. Let's get rid of the fans and the separation of the clubhouse and the dugout, which in MLS, they're doing the same thing. In the NFL, players will be hitting each other for an entire game, and then afterwards they can't dap each other up. They have to socially distance. So there's a lot of things that make zero sense. But let's just talk about the sport itself. 60-game season. If you were a manager for a team right now, what would you be telling your team? Because baseball forever has been a marathon sport. It's always been, hey, 162 games, we're going to grind it out. We'll find some grooves. We won't. Maybe we'll get how do you change the mentality of baseball players, especially at the professional level who play for so long, and say, hey, this is a 60-game sprint? What would your message be, and who do you think this is going to favor?
Well, I want to talk about a winning team. Winning team is like, hey, is going to be trophy involved? Yes, I want it. I want the trophy. I don't care. 30 games or 190 games. I want that trophy no matter the situation is going to be. My players, it's different organization, different teams. You know what I mean? If you're the Dodgers, you better win. You're the Yankees, you better win. You're the White Sox, you better win. It's so many people involved right now. In the short season, anything can happen. Anything. Because, it's good for a fact. The only reason I know one, this short season for excuse. Oh, it was a short season. It was a weird thing. We couldn't make it. We're not playing that well. This play not playing good. This manager was terrible. All the little excuse because the short season, it can happen. But the thing I love about this season is just because any team can get hot and go to the playoff and get there to the World Series.
The Pittsburgh Pirates can win this year?
Yes.
No!
Wow. Wait a minute. You know why? The Marlins, because you don't never know This is not a basketball team. This is not a football. Baseball is different. Baseball is so weird. So weird, you never know it. Look at this year, the Nationals. National was like, they only win like 10 games in the first 42 games. All of a sudden, they win the championship. You know why? Because it's a long season, and you can have a chance to recover. But in baseball, you can start hot or you can start cold. You start cold. It reminds me a little bit of Winter League baseball. I managed Winter League baseball last few years, and one day you're in the first place, and next week you're last place. That happens in a hurry. You lose 5, 6, 7 games in a row, you're in the hot seat. And if you win 10 games in a row, you're in a good place to be because for the rest of the season. That's why you have to go out and compete every game with the last game of the season.
Okay, so let's talk about how you would have to manage the bullpen here. If you have a pitcher who, and I guess it's very normal for some pitchers to potentially start out a little bit slower and then for some, whatever reason, they kind of get into it. With this shorter game or shorter season here, if you have a pitcher that's struggling early, are you going to are you pulling him to maybe try to get better off the field? Or are you hoping that he just hits his groove faster? Like, is there going to be a lot of judgment on managing and what they do with the bullpen? I think there's going to be a lot more importance in that, the strategy of all that. Am I accurate?
Yes, you are. You know, it's funny. Last few years, bullpen is a big part of the winning season. Huge part. Now, pitchers, they can only go 5 innings, 5 in the third. You're not going to see complete games anymore. You're not going to see a guy go last 7, 8 innings. Maybe the veterans, maybe 3 or 4. That's why the bullpen is a key to any winning team in this in last 10 years. You know what? If I'm rebuilding, or we're not going to have it, we don't have enough ball club to win it this year, I go very easy. But if I know I have the opportunity to win, I'm going to give my pitchers the best quality innings to win and rest the bullpen. Because you know how good starters, your bullpen is going to be a fiasco. And to me, my mentality is all about winning. I don't care about rebuilding. I don't care about this guy got 2 years in the big league. The guy got 10 years in the big league. I think the guy is going to start the season. I don't think he's going to go more than 5 innings, 85 pitches, 90 pitches. But in the meanwhile, if I have to push the gas and anybody, I will do it. If we win the championship next year and later, they don't even care how many innings you have. You know, you gotta be in DL for the rest of your life. You gotta ring in your hands. That's only matter for baseball. And I see a lot of guys win the World Series and they could have pitched for the next 2-3 years. They never come back to pitch. They got hurt. They have so many innings in the arm. To me, people just remember the ring. They don't remember who take you to the ring.
Yeah.
And that's why I go to look at it. I have to win the game. Is I have to have a chance to win, and I know I have a chance to win. My play had to be ready to win. Had to be ready to go there every day, and just play hard every day and do what they're supposed to do day in and day out.
It feels like this year would potentially be a year because they're trying to get people out of the vicinity of the players. That the strike box that would basically tell if a ball is a strike or a ball instead of the umpire having to judge the strike zone, which I know is something traditional baseball, like working the strike zone. Do you ever see that becoming something in baseball? Because some of your interactions with umpires are some of the best things I've ever watched in my entire life.
You know what? This is the most ridiculous thing I can even see in baseball. They change baseball so much. They really do. They change baseball so much. It's kind of weird. It takes the sensitivity of the game. This year they come up with the rules. You cannot argue with the umpire. You cannot go there to the field because of the corona. I got a mask to talk to the media. I put my mask and go straight to the umpire and let them know because the umpire already have enough power. If you make a mistake, it's umpire because they will, because they're human being. They make a mistake, and all of a sudden that's to lose the game. That's a game going to be an opportunity to go to play up, and I'm going to sit down like, okay, I just take it. I'm being abused. But you got to fight for your team. You don't fight to give fine or you think you tougher the umpire. You fight for your team, the best for the ball club. Now, when they have a computer, I think the best thing the umpires did when they have the thing, they go to TV and see the play was right or wrong, they take it away. I'm like, this is the best thing they come up with. This is fair for everyone. Now they take it away. And I don't see, one of the best things work for the baseball. They get taken away now. The worst thing happened in baseball, they put it back. Umpires, they're human being. Some umpires, not everyone, they think they're bigger in the game. Some umpires think they come and pay to watch him umpire. And it's not an easy job, man. Believe me, umpire is not an easy job because the most guy to be hated in the game is the umpire. Both teams going to be against him. The fans going to be against him. Media going to be against him. It's not any win-win situation for any umpire. But I think they give them too much power. Is that me? I will manage it the same way. I will scream for the dugout. At least to. By the way, it's not going to be fans in the ballpark. You can hear anything happen to you telling the umpires. How much they're going to tolerate what you're saying from the dugout, that's a different scenario.
How much do you have like a plan whenever you're going in there to yell at them, or is it just whatever you're feeling in the moment? Did you have like a strategy with different umps? Like, hey, I got to make sure I say this to this guy. I got to talk this way to this guy. Because ultimately, I don't know if you're trying to get ejected or just get a point across. Is there a strategy whenever you're going out there? Or is that all pure emotion? Let me kick some dirt on the shoes a little bit.
Well, you know what? It's all about reputation. When I was managing, Ron Garden had got thrown more than me, Lou Pinella, my Socia. All those guys compete against me, Jim Leland. But the thing was, when I was on the field, I was there forever. My problem was what I talked to them on the field. The problem was after the game, when they asked me, I went at it. And the league don't like it. And that's why they find me. Then you see me everywhere talking with arguing with the umpire. But when you go to army with the umpire and the umpire come to you and say, hey, I think I missed the play. That's the way I see it. But when the umpire go like, don't come here. No. And sometimes you're a rookie manager, umpire think you just got to the game. I said, hey, I played 17 years in the big league. I've been here before you was. Then I know, sometimes you got to come out. If the team not playing well, you come out and just get kicked out of the game. Hopefully your team get pumped up and fight for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to protect your player. Example, if Jim Thome got struck out and Jim Thome come to by me and he's upset about it, okay? I know this umpire is not good. But if AJ Persisky come to me and argue about other umpires, I don't believe AJ because AJ he just every pitch is ball for him. and that's why you see Paul Konerko argument with the umpire. Just like, this is real. Jermaine died. But like us again, when they see me argument on the base, the manager go off. Ozzy just pissed. Ozzy just mad. Ozzy just hungover. But when I say you depend. Who make you go out and how you going to protect your player. And that's that's the way I go about my business order to protect my players and my team.
Ozzy, do you think that there's a chance that there will be like an uptick in like steroid usage this year potentially with a less amount of games, guys trying to potentially maximize their stats like going into a new contract?
I just got froze, guys. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, do you think that there's a chance that there's going to be an uptick in like steroid usage this year potentially with less amount of games with guys trying to maximize their stats with a limited amount of at-bats?
Well, steroids out of the question. I think the best baseball we ever have offensively when people was using it. Right now, Major League Baseball is so into it. They go every you never know. Before they let you know who's the player going to be checked out, now they go in. People don't even know about it. Major League Baseball is after that pretty well. It take a little while. It take a long time to get it the right way we should be. But I don't think players right now, they just it's just they get caught. The one thing in baseball I always say, if the player get caught with steroids again, bang it for the rest of your life. No more baseball for you. anything we put in the list, you cannot take a U positive from that league. We take all the money away from you, and we move on. Okay, each example, I sign a contract. If I go to take steroid to sign a contract for $200 million, I'm taking it every day. You know why? Because if I get suspended, I got to get suspended for 80 games, and that going to cost me like what, $500,000, and I'm going to continue to make $200 million. Woo! I will take it every day. That's why if you get caught, they say, listen, you got to play you suspend for the rest of the year, and you got to play for the minimum, and you got to start over with all your stuff. Then players will think about it. But believe me, if I'm going to make $200 million and I'm going to get caught, I'm going to get suspended for 80 days, I will tell my people, hey, man, that is what it is.
It is what it is. Ozzy, I can't thank you enough for joining us. You're an absolute legend, man. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for the opportunity, guys. Hopefully see you guys again. Hopefully I'll be your show again.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Yes, Ozzy. We can't wait to talk to you again, ladies and gentlemen.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Hey, we're going to hold you to that.
Hey, I'm available.
Ozzy!
Ozzy!
We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, legend, dude.
Such a beast.
A great steroid question there you just snuck in there.
Figured,
By the way, that would be how you punish people.
I also knew that he is not a fan of guys who took steroids.
Yeah, so you thought he was going to potentially get a little fired up there? They ruined the game. Man, that was because how fiery he is. Then once you start hearing like the reasons why he's doing it, it's like everything makes sense. And you said before he got on, I wasn't a big baseball guy for a long time whenever he was reigning. Good manager.
Oh, yeah.
Smart,
good player,
and a good player, yeah.
Yeah, and he just said, like, hey, listen, they won't care who threw to get the World Series. If we're getting the trophy, guys might end up on DL. Like, hey, listen, he's having a conversation like, hey, we have a team to win this year. We are going to go and get it, and it's going to ride in our bullpen. I love that mindset.
I tell you, too, like, being a Cubs fan, I absolutely hated him, but I respect he's amazing.
Yeah, you were very pumped whenever his name was popped up.
I love Ozzy Guillen.
He said I'm from Chicago, too. He said he knows those.
Yeah, he lived in Cicero, like, right down the street when I grew up.
Oh, really? Did you guys ever meet?
No, I actually met him once at a Park District event.
And how was it? How'd it go? Did he kick
exactly how that was, but R-rated. He is very off the hip kind of guy.
Well, we got to get him strictly on the YouTube show and see what happens. I got to run and take a quick bathroom break. I believe we're back in about a minute and a half on radio. If he's going to come back on, I mean, that is great news for our show.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Pierre in one day?
How about that? Two big voices for their sports and sports that are coming back. College football's probably not there. Come on. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Not a bad little sprint there. Ozzy Guillen was awesome. Pierre McGuire was as well. We can't thank all of the guests that joined us this week enough. Great people. Those who are listening and watch, I don't know why, but we are grateful. And obviously, Fandle, this is one of the biggest weeks in our company's history. We thank you guys for rocking with us during it. There's a massive bet on Fandle right now for the best soccer player on planet Earth, who is the United States American, Christian Pulisic. Boosted odds, Pat McAfee Super Boost is what they called it. By the way, shout out that.
Super Boost.
Christian Pulisic is currently at plus 800 to be the first goal scorer this weekend. That is gonna happen. So go ahead and lock that in at FanDuel if you're one of the states that has FanDuel sporting sportsbook app. Plus 800 is amazing odds.
It's got to be a misprint, right?
No, it's not, and it's the only reason why I went for it. I was like, okay, you guys can give us what? What about for Christian Pulisic scoring? They're like, we can go to first goal scorer to plus 800. I'm like, bingo. You bet $50 there. That's the max, or anything underneath that. 50 will lend you $400. What a place. FanDuel is giving out stupid odds, and I said this to Matt King's face the other day, CEO of FanDuel. It makes no sense how they make any money with the way they boost odds and the way we do things, but that's what we're doing. That's what the deal's for. We are here to make all the money from them. And the best soccer player on earth, Christian Pulisic, will score first this weekend, and we'll all dance on FanDuel's grave a little bit.
Hell yeah.
This has been a cool week. We got to head off to a golf outing for the foundation. It's going to be a long afternoon. Gumpy will give us locks next week. He took the week off after, he went 4-0 one day or 3-0 one day, and then he decided to celebrate and went lost the next day. We're back on Monday. You all are the greatest people on earth. Have a great weekend. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, July 10th.